Good morning. It's a wonderful weekend and a beautiful Friday out here in the city of Lagos, and we are right here on Cactv Morning Dew to give you the latest, the happenings around the world of news, and to keep you updated on the goings that we are currently facing in our world. So I am Modot Dominic, and with me is
So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. My name is Shegun White. As you all know, welcome to Cactv this morning for the morning dew. We are bringing you all the juicy news today. In fact, thank God it's Friday. Modot,
exactly.
How are you doing this morning?
See me now.
TGIS.
Yes, so
Oh, God.
my one of my favorite days of the week. And with us is Engineer Ola. Yes, he is back on set, and we're super delighted and glad to have you on set.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
so
How's your break?
yes.
But I was,
Alaji is looking Friday. Alaji is looking Friday.
I ate very well. Thank God today's Friday.
Yes,
Alaji,
so
I wish to be like you when I grew up, so that I can be able to, Alaji is looking very young. He's looking younger and
always,
younger every day.
Always.
What is the secret, sir, Alaji?
Only young at heart.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at the stories making headlines today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Yes, welcome back from that break. Quickly, we'll take a look at the quotes that we have for the day. So, White, could you help us?
Yes, quickly. Good morning. Praise the Lord. The quote for today is taken from the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 2, and I'm reading the Good News version. It says, "Be always humble, gentle, and patient. Show your love by being tolerant with one another." I think this word is coming at a time like this, that we have all hands, all people, everybody's reactions everywhere in the country, following the tribunal, the election, the economy. The word of the Lord is coming to us this morning expressly, that we should be humble, we should show love, and be contented with whatever we have. We should always show love by being tolerant with one another. Love is the principal thing. Our God is love, and love is God. Love covers all sins, and if we can tolerate ourselves, showing love to ourselves, the environment, the society will be a better place to live in. The greatest commandment of God for us humans is love. That's actually why the Bible says in John 3:16, as we all know, that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him will not perish but have everlasting life. So this morning we are telling you and charging you, children of God, everyone around the world, all over the world, please show love by tolerating others. Good morning. That is the morning code for today. This morning, Modot.
All right. I love NLT. NLT's translation is always, breaking the words down. And NLT says, be humble and gentle.
Yes.
Be patient with each other. Making allowance for each other's fault because of your love.
Yeah.
Now, because of your love, meaning the love of God in your heart. When the love of God is in your heart, you would always see things from the perspective of God.
Yes.
So it didn't say that people won't fault you. People won't look for it. You won't be tempted. People won't have reasons for you to, range with anger. But it says, in the midst of all of this, make allowance for one another. Like what we are facing in our country right now, I think this is a point where we have to make allowance for each other. We know it may not be going the way we want it, like I used to say, in every competition, there's always a winner and there's always a loser. Yeah. So if it's not coming to you on the winning side, please, and it's coming to you on the losing side, make allowance for those who have won, and let's celebrate them together.
And there's always a time to try again.
Okay, so it's very important that we make allowance for each other because of the love of God that is in our heart. Yes. Okay, so let the love of God rule your heart so that you'll be able to understand what it means to make allowance for each other's fault. I pray God help us as we, look forward to living the life that is Christ-like. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the story that we have, starting with the Punch newspaper. So, and the first story on the Punch newspaper says, I'm so super excited about this first story, and there was a lot of tension on Wednesday when the petition was ongoing. No, there was a lot of tension, and we're looking, okay, what's going to happen? Is there going to be a dethronement of who already is on seat? Which I already knew that it can't happen because we're in Nigeria. What has already been is already there. So quickly, let's look at the story. This says tribunal judgment, APC Lamboon Atiku, Obi opposition attack INEC. The All Progressive Congress on Thursday slammed the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party, Atiku Abubakar and Obi, for criticizing the verdict of the presidential election petition tribunal, which upheld President Bola Tinubu's election and the electoral process. This happened as Atiku and Obi attacked the Independent National Electoral Commission over its conduct of the polls. The 5-member tribunal had nullified the petitions of Atiku and Obi in the 12-hour judgment delivered on Wednesday. However, speaking on the development during a press conference at the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja, Atiku said is believed that the PEC's judgment left a lot to be desired, convinced him to direct his legal team to approach the Supreme Court for readdress. Okay, so one of the things that struck me in the speech from the both presidential representative was the fact that in the midst of all their speech, they still encourage people to maintain peace and order. But I'm still wondering, why do they still want to take this thing further when the judge has said there is nothing to talk about here anymore? Okay. This is clear that the current president is sitting president actually won the election going by the numbers that they have. So my question now is, why is this back and forth? Why can't we just celebrate, come together and say, okay, this is what it is, let's make an headway now. So what's the way forward? If I don't win now, I can always make an headway on the next one. So what my question still boils down to that too. Why are we still having to go back and forth? Why is Atiku and Obi still pushing further on this? So let me start with you, Engineer Ola.
Well, the long Abotel day has arrived, and we all are the verdict of the court, that is the appeal court, yes, that Tinubu should still remain as Nigerian president. But by and large, you can see that the opposition parties, the Labour Party of Nigeria and also the people, PDP, they are on the other side of the fence, saying that no, we do not accept this judgment. And they have lots of comments on this particular judgment. They believe that though they believe in the court, and they believe that okay, if you are aggrieved in Nigeria, in terms of election, you have to go to the court to seek for the dress, which they have done. And they still believe in Nigerian court justice, but they do not accept the judgment. Particularly, Obi is saying that, okay, we have to move forward and going to the Supreme Court because we are not satisfied with the judgment at all. The same thing Atiku is saying. But one thing I want to say is that, it is not really good for people to rely so much on what is going on the social media. Social media cannot determine the winner of a case. You may have your supporters in social media. They may write lots of articles, but that is not what court is going to use. If you watch the proceedings, so many evidences were brought up that were trashed by the court. For example, I want to talk about this, the foreign observers. One of their key witnesses went to the internet and downloaded, the summary of what these external observers, observed, and this was brought to the court. And court said you have to be the author of the document you are presenting for this particular case. If you are bringing a third party, as a witness, he has to come with the document he has authored, that is being authored by himself, not a third party document. One thing is that when you are presenting your case very well, you must have people that are key witnesses in this particular matter. So what we are saying here is that, well, the matter is still in court because they said we are still going to Supreme Court. Atoko is saying, look, I still believe in Nigerian court. I believe in justice, that okay, justice must reign supreme in Nigeria, but this particular judgment, I resent it, I don't accept it. And the same thing Obi is saying that this judgment, from the court, we still believe in the rule of law, we still believe in the court, but we don't believe in this particular judgment. So we have to proceed. We have to protest on this particular judgment. But what I see to it is that Atiku belongs to a party, PDP. Obi was in PDP. Obi left PDP and joined Labour Party.
Yes.
If they have combined together, it will have been a different result entirely. Looking at the margin of APC, and look at the margin between Atiku and Obi, if they both combine together, it will have been a different case entirely. But because they lack one thing, that is unity. And we have now seen the result now. So if they go to Supreme Court, I cannot predict what will happen. But we all know what is going to happen at the Supreme Court. There's no gainsay about that. We are just happy that this thing has not led to any civil war in Nigeria as of today.
Exactly.
So I believe these two leaders, Obi and Atiku, they should talk to their followers that there shouldn't be any violence in this country. If you look back to in Nigeria in 1967, about this is becoming similar to what took place at a particular period. We should not allow this politics saga that is happening now to grow up and become what will not be of good thing to all Nigerians. We have to be very, very careful at this stage of life. Looking at the way coups are happening in Africa now. Nigeria, everybody in the world is looking at Nigeria, the most populous black nation in the whole world. Everybody is now watching keenly how are we going to handle this situation. I want to appeal to all Nigerians that we have to handle this situation carefully so that it does not lead to what we are not expecting. It has been said before now that Nigeria cannot survive another civil war. So we should be very, very careful that this thing does not lead to any civil war. I'm talking to Atiku and I'm talking to Obi separately. Whatever is the outcome of this matter in court, we have to accept it. Because there's nothing we can do now if you don't want to destroy the good people of this country.
Thank you for shedding more light to that. So, White, let me come to you. So, what's your take?
Yes, a very laudable applaud. If I think we have that effect in the studio, I would have given that to Alaji this morning. It's a very exquisite comment coming from Alaji this morning. Maybe Alaji has prepared, Yoruba says, "Agbotota di meyin, agbára ló lọ mú wá."
No, Alaji is Engineer Allah is always speaking from a place of experience.
The wealth of experiences. Okay, now let me start by saying the world is looking at us. Everybody is watching clean. We cannot hide under one finger. But now, let me say, and I don't want to spend much time on this. If Peter Obi and Atiku is saying that the judgment is not palatable, that they are not going with the judgment of the PEPT, does it mean that the judgment was biased, or is not free and fair, or is not being properly conducted? While Alaji was while Engineer Allah was doing his analysis, I was thinking back to many processes. That is, the reason why we question, or we are questioning the judgment of the tribunal right now, is not actually at the tribunal. It didn't start at the tribunal. It started even from the political parties themselves. What is the structure that you have when doing your own internal elections? On the day of election, we also need to ask, moving away from that to INEC, what is the structure that INEC has? We do. I'm not saying that INEC does not have a structure, because if, like Engineer said, that most of the part of the candidates were relying on the results they are having on the social media, and I think people on the social media, which is our new generation, we are relying on that social media just because there was a statement by the INEC spokesperson and the INEC president, when they said every result of the election will be electronically transmitted. So that means that made everybody who initially made some people who initially said in their mind, being practical now, in their mind, that they won't come out to vote because they don't really believe
in transparency,
the transparency of the INEC from time immemorial. So when INEC now came and said, okay, we are going to be transmitting this thing electronically, oh, good. So
we are all going to take count of
everybody.
it.
Yes, we are going to be involved in
the
this
process.
And now that the tribunal, going down to the tribunal, now that they are trashing the results, the comments, the outcomes from the social media or the internet,
that is not legally backing,
which is not legally backed,
electronically can be,
which is not legally backed now, people are now raising concerns. A lot of reactions is trailing this.
So it's more like saying a thing, and you're going back.
And going back, you are saying something now and you're saying something else later because the tide changes. So we need to build this trust again. I don't know what INEC is going to do, because the next election, I don't know what INEC would need to, because a lot of people are gradually losing trust. In fact, I'm trying to be,
easy with your words.
Easy with words by saying people are gradually losing trust in the INEC. Because if you say this is the Constitution, you should follow the Constitution to the letter. That's why, okay, now they are going back and forth. In fact, not even going back and forth again. They are going forward. Because I see, if they go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court also uphold Bola Tinubu, they will also say they are not agreeing. They won't agree, because nobody wants to agree to defeat.
Of course.
Yes. Yes.
I have something to add to that. When it was said that, okay, INEC said it would transmit the result will be transmitted live.
Yes.
That was what INEC said initially. but the result was not transmitted live. The argument came up in the court, and what the court said on that is that it is not a constitutionally mandated that INEC must transmit the result live.
Yes.
So my question now is why did they bring that up in the first place? Because that's the hope they gave the masses.
No, they brought it up, but INEC said that it seems that somebody was going to hack the server. But you understand, this matter was resolved in court that, okay, constitutionally, the INEC will decide how they will
transmit the results, whether electronically.
INEC shouldn't have come and
build confidence of the people.
Do you know that information has a way of shipping things?
Let me tell you something about Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you that not all locations in Nigeria are with internet.
Yes.
And sometimes the internet is not constant.
Yes.
It's undulating.
Yes.
Going up and coming and down. If at that particular moment I'm not supporting INEC.
Yes.
If that particular moment there is no internet, how do you transmit your result? You don't compare. You see, one thing is that we are running too faster than our legs. In America, they can do that. In UK, they can do that. But can we do it in Africa, where the internet is not constant? Somewhere we have internet, somewhere we don't have internet. If we are in the studio, sometimes we have a downtime.
Yes.
Downtime for the internet. So
that's why I said INEC should have
They said they have a collating center where they transmit the result. And one thing again is that server is just a storage. What you are doing electronically, you are also doing it manually. You understand now? At the same time. So if the electronics won't fail,
you fall back to the manual.
You understand what is going on?
But it was recorded in some polls, in some polling units. That
this matter has been decided in court. I'm not one of the panels, and I'm not one of the jurists in court. This matter has been decided in court.
Exactly.
And the court has ruled that anybody who is not satisfied with the judgment can go to the Supreme Court. But I'm only coming up with my own opinion that we do not have to rely so much on information on social media. You have to authenticate your information. If I want to defend you in court, I have to go with the document that I can say I'm the author of this document,
yes,
not somebody.
Not a third
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm still of the opinion that before we are always too fast in Nigeria to bring up an idea and then want to implement it immediately. Like for the matter of displaying the result electronically. Now we should have considered the fact that we don't have a stable network service yet in Nigeria. So it will not be easy for us to come to a point where every area or every local government would have their result transmitted for everyone to see. Because during that period, there were some places who they said that they had issues uploading their results. And that was because the server was not working well. So I really felt before they come out to assure people of a certain thing, because what people hold on to is the assurance you give to them.
Yes.
Okay, so the moment you give them an assurance of certain things, they hold on to it and they hold you accountable to it. So
and that's why the social media populists are now clamoring.
You assured us this, and now you are now saying you're now saying that it's because you should know that some certain things could happen. You should have thought about those parts, and then when you come, you make your statement adding a clause to it that don't forget that we are working with this, and this might fail because we don't have all the power to hold this.
There's a proverb that says if you don't want ants around you, you don't spill sugar. Okay? If you don't want things like this to happen, you know how to play your words, know how to put out
manage your words,
your words and information. But having said that, to cap it up, I think the presidential candidates now who did not article and Obi in particular should find a way to. I'm not advocating for, but I'm advocating for peace. We should just find a way, because if you go to the process of waiting for this tribunal is a long process. It's delaying governance. Yes, it's delaying governance, because We are going to court today, going to court tomorrow, going to court.
Things that we would have looked into, we are not able to sit down to talk about.
Instead of us to put energies together and say, okay, fine, Oga, you are the one in charge. Let's do this thing together. Don't worry. The next election, we will know what to do. But let's just move forward. Let's move forward.
All right, away from that, we'll take a look at the second story that we have still on the Punch newspaper. And this says, Customs intercept 692 million naira drugs, others along Ibejuleki waterways. The Western Marine Command of the Nigerian Customs Service said it had intercepted 103 sacks containing 8,240 loaves of cannabis, sativa, and 23,000 capsules of tramadol, 100 milligrams each, along Ibejuleki waterways. In a statement on Thursday by the command's public relationships officer, Malafia Magaji, the customs area controller, Adaudu Salafi, okay, and he also disclosed this while handing over the seized drugs to officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency at the command in Ibafo, Apapa, Lagos. WMC of the NCS in the foremost marine formation of the service, saddled with the duties of guarding the waterways. He also said that the seized drug had a duty paid value of 692 million naira, adding that one wooden boat with 2 Yamaha outboard engines, 40 horsepower each, were seized. Okay, so I'm glad that they were able to, get a hold of this, because this is not just drugs that are damaging. I know there are people who take drugs that are hard drugs, but based on doctor's prescription. But this one is just way too much, and having to have this come all the way from only God knows where, and then they were now captured along Ibejuleki. So what exactly is your view, Engineer Ola?
Well, you see, in those days when Buhari said that Nigerian youths are this, there were lots of reactions. Now, why would you say such a thing? What is the usefulness of cannabis?